What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I've said this over and over again. We're going to watch a clip today, but I've said this over and over again when it comes to the number one issue that's facing Americans and the number one issue that will be on the ballot. It's affordability. So today we're going to take a look at Harry Enten. He's going to be talking about our current state when it comes to tariffs and how voters feel about tariffs and what this could mean for the midterm election. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. So I want to make a quick pitch here. If you guys are liking the content on my channel, make sure you go over and join my Substack. It's free. And on my Substack, you're going to get articles that are based on some of the videos that I've posted, as well as every video that I post on YouTube, I also post it on Substack, and Substack will send you an email notification so you'll never miss any of my videos. Link is in the description. Okay, let's take a look. Here we go.
I feel like I'm in bizarro world, okay? Because the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and hope for a different result. And that is just simply put not been the case with President Trump in terms of the train has left the station and the American people have spoken. They hate these new tariffs. U.S. on new tariffs on imported goods. You know, you go back to November of 2024. Look, 52% of Americans favored them right after Donald Trump's election, 48% opposed. But then we entered the real world in tariffs, and Americans saw the effects of them. What happened to the opposition to new tariffs? Up like a rocket. We're talking 63% of Americans now oppose the idea of new tariffs, compared to just 37% who favor it. So the bottom line is this: the American people have seen what tariffs have done to the economy, and they simply put do not like it and have turned against the President of the United States, who, as I said, it feels like bizarro world, because from a political standpoint, it is absolutely insanity that keeps trying to do something that the American people clearly very much do not like.
Bizarro.
And just, I mean, think about this. When it comes to tariffs, the president had an out. The Supreme Court ruled on this. But what did the president do? He doubled down. He decided, you know, we're going to find different ways that we can impose tariffs on these different countries. And when you impose these tariffs on these different countries, the people who have to pay for it, it's us. We have to pay for it because you have a company in the U.S. that buys products from another country. When that product comes to the U.S., the company in the U.S. has to pay that tariff. And then that company in the U.S. will pass that cost on to the consumer. And that is what we've been seeing. And that's why the cost of products are continuing to rise. It's as a result of tariffs. And so the president had an opportunity to step away from this and say, you know what, I tried, but the Supreme Court has ruled on this. And so I'm going to honor their ruling, and I'm not going to try to impose new tariffs. But now what we're seeing is these temporary tariffs being imposed. And so prices are still up there, and they're probably going to continue to increase. And one of the ways around this is if Congress actually acted. Congress can do something when it comes to tariffs. It's actually their role. But with recent presidents, Congress has allowed presidents to impose tariffs. We've had other presidents that have imposed tariffs, but we haven't seen a blanket tariff on all countries. So this is a major issue for the current administration, and this issue is going to impact the down-ballot candidates, the Republicans that are running for office.
Or also because there is a red sun, but that's another.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
All right.
Superman.
And the president's approval rating, how has it been? Or how has it sort of mirrored the tariff situation?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, the tariffs were what set Donald Trump off on a pathway to nowhere, on a pathway to a presidency that is a dead end. Take a look at this. Trump's negative net approval rating. Every single poll since March 29, 2025, that is over a year ago, in fact, days in a row, it's 482 days in which every single poll that meets CNN standards for publication, Donald Trump has had a negative net approval rating. Well, what happened right around March 29, 2025? All polls just before Liberation Day 2025. It was the tariffs. It was the massive implication of those tariffs, the implementation of it, that, of course, many of them got overturned, that turned the American people once and for all against Donald Trump in his second term as president.
Went underwater just around Liberation Day, been underwater every day since. All right, how does the rest of the world feel about this?
Yeah, okay. So the rest of the world doesn't like it either. I mean, that's not much of a surprise, right? But still, it's notable, right? Net approval rating Trump on tariffs. Brazil, 51 points underwater. Canada, 65 points underwater. Mexico, 73 points underwater. Trump has been underwater so long on tariffs, both here and abroad, that the bottom line is this: it's almost like he is the Little Mermaid. He just doesn't even come up for air anymore.
And this could have a political impact. in the other direction than the president wants in some of these countries.
Exactly right. Take a look at Brazil, 51 points underwater there. Well, there's a presidential election going on there. Top chances to win the Brazilian presidential election. Lula, who President Trump does not like, he has now a 63% chance, while, in fact, Bolsonaro, who Trump very much likes, an ally, 25% chance. Donald Trump is killing his allies with these tariffs.
Harold Denton, thank you very much.
Thank you, Johnny.
We have a lot of news this morning. We'll be right back.
And so that's the current situation when it comes to tariffs and how that's impacting our economy. Now, I want to show you, they talked a little bit about, they went back to March of 2025. I want to show you that. And so what we're looking at here, this is RealClearPolitics. I want to show you this illustration. And so if we go all the way to January 2025, the very beginning, the president was inaugurated on January 20th. On January 27th, polling started to come out, and this is what we saw. The black line here, this is approval. The red line is disapproval. So the black line is showing us an approval rating of plus 6.2% for the president. And that was January 27th of 2025. Now look what happens. When we get to March, we start to see a shift. Let's say on March 10th, we saw the spread still on the approval side for the president, plus 0.7%. And then as we move forward, we see March 14th, the spread there, minus 0.6%. Now we're in the disapproval category. And as we move forward, we see that continues to rise, and it continues to rise. And we see, and we get all the way to the end here, where we are now, July 24th, the spread now is minus 16.1%. Disapproval for the president. And so I just wanted to show you that illustration so you see that the president did have a point where his approval was higher than his disapproval. But as a result of the policies that he's putting forward, that is the reason why we're seeing this widening gap where you see disapprovals much higher than his approvals. Now, the president is not running for re-election. However, when we're looking at the down-ballot candidates, when we're looking at the Republicans who are running right now in this midterm election, they are going to have to address these issues. They're going to have to address the fact that a lot of voters, the voter sentiment right now, they're not satisfied with the current administration. They're not satisfied with tariffs and all this stuff that's going on. And so in order for some of these candidates to win on the Republican side, they're either going to have to distance themselves from the president, or they're going to have to try to explain the current situation. And that's going to be very, very hard. And remember, midterm elections are generally a referendum on the president. If the president is not doing well, if his policies aren't working, that is going to impact the Republican candidates that are running in this midterm election. And so now I want to pass it off to you. How do you feel about tariffs? Do you think that these tariffs are causing us more harm than they are helping? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.